Hello, traders. It's 8:02 Chicago time, 8:02 a.m. Chicago time on Monday, the first trading day of May 3rd, 2021. This is episode number 1985. Thanks for joining me today. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, we're going to jump into the pre-market summary sheet by Convergent Trading. We are looking like we have risk on. The leader today is silver. Silver up currently 2.52% or 65 and a half cents, a pretty decent pop higher in silver. The metals are relatively strong. Gold is up 1.14%, trading at 1787 and 80 cents. The Russell follows. The Russell's up 21 points, followed by the Euro Stoxx 50. The European market got a nice boost this morning from the German retail sales data, as well as the Eurozone factory activity. Pretty good numbers there. China, Japan, and Britain are closed for public holidays today, while Asian shares ended with losses. So, overall, we're seeing everything on the positive end of the spectrum, except for the US dollar. The US dollar is down 16 cents even at $91.11 or 0.18% down. So risk on after selling off on Friday. Risk on sentiment today, and we've pushed up to 4,200 in the S&Ps. The high overnight's 41.9950. The main things to pay attention to today. One second. I don't have anything major in terms of earnings, and I'm filtering earnings by those issues that have $3 billion in estimated revenue or higher. Anything less than that, I'm not really paying too much attention to. But today we do have several releases: market manufacturing PMI, ISM, construction spending, ISM manufacturing construction spending, and then Fed Chair Powell at 4:20 Eastern today. Those are some of the things to be aware of. The market continues to be driven. It was tech that sold off mostly on Friday. Techs were quite weak. Tesla was a high flyer last Friday, up some 6.3% from the cash open. The S&P has traded 151,000 contracts. It's got 18 points of range, which is okay. It is a balanced profile. It's got almost a second distribution at the bottom, but really it's a balanced profile with an upward skew. The overnight inventory is 99.9% long this morning. And that's how we're starting the day. So just pay attention to the fact that we are popping higher. We're testing that 4,200. We'll go over in a minute what the game plan has been, or what this thing has accomplished so far. It's kind of interesting how it's trading. We'll hop right into the review of what was expected on Friday. Friday, we were looking for a push higher into 80 to 87, this zone, 80 to 87. It pushed to 89 and a quarter. Was looking for a push into that 80 to 87 zone, and then for it to rotate down before pushing higher. The secondary scenario is an attempt higher that gets us out and breaks through to consolidate at 41.6775 and or 41.66 41.67 really. In other words, the prior week's close, consolidate here, and then continue lower. Neither of these worked out very well. Here's what we got on Friday in our review segment. So, looking at what it had done on Friday, let's get rid of some of these lines here. Looking at what it had done on Friday, we pushed through that 80 to 87 zone to 89, came back towards the middle of the range, and then pushed again for a week high. This is a double top. This is a double top here. Wow, this thing doesn't want to write. We have a clear double top here, a weak high left behind on Friday. And then later we saw a double bottom basically right down here. But in general, there was a downward skew once it pushed below that for the biggest rotation of the day. At that point, it didn't really look back. We extended the selling a little bit farther later. But you can see that the rotations were mainly dominated by sellers, which is something that is odd to see lately. The profile's pretty balanced, but what we've done here is we've accepted prices. We've moved the point of control lower. We put in a lower low, lower high, and we just could not breach this key LVN on the double distribution left behind on Thursday. And so it was fairly bearish. But what have we really done? Overall, we didn't accomplish much. If we look at the composite, this is really important here to keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on what really is happening. Look at what we've done. We started Monday with a very undecided undecided candlestick here. Monday was really we closed at 41.7750 or so. We have that 41.80, 81.50 MC point of control that we started to form that hadn't formed yet on Monday. The next day we test lower, so we end the one time framing up. We test lower, but we come back and we close on top of the 41.80. The next day we open a little bit higher, test up, test down, and we end up at the 41.81 area. Then we have a gap up day, put in a new all-time high at 42.11. And then we test all the way through the 41.81, almost to the low of the week, and then we finish strong. So what this started to do is it started to build an upper distribution, and we already had a lower distribution. So this is showing that it had tested balance, and it's just not able to hold in that balance zone, and that's what gives us the primary scenario. Remember, the primary scenario is a push higher, an attempt lower, and then a continuation higher, which we didn't get. And the reason for that is playing off of the latest piece of the narrative, and that is it's rejecting these prices. Now we are back. We ended up coming back to 41.81 again, right on top of the MC point of control. We tested up, we tested down, and then we held sideways. So all in all, a pretty non-event week. Pretty good volume, 5 days, almost 6 million contracts in RTH. That's pretty good. But really, we are spinning our wheels and we are stuck in this bracket right here. Today, we appear to be above it. The expectation is a strong potential for a test into that 41.81 area. We are currently trading at 41.93. It's not too far. It's 11 points, 12 points or so. So we are holding inside of the low volume node of last week. The week put in a higher low, higher high. The week put in a higher low, higher high, but overall, the action, the discovery efficiency of price here was very poor last week. Again, not to get your hopes up and not to set any strong biases, but this is starting to look like a rounded top still, which what this looked like a rounded top as well, and it ended up pushing, but it just is struggling, as you can see by the price action here, that it's struggling to keep pushing higher prices with vigor as it had done for the last few months. So since basically the beginning of the year, we've been doing pretty good in terms of price discovery and continuing to push higher and higher and higher. But currently, it is stalling out. So, again, the delta is still negative. I know the delta has been negative for a while we push prices higher, and it still is a factor in my analysis. But I can't give it too much weight because price and delta have been divergent now for weeks. And I'm talking like 10, 11, 12 weeks. So it's doing pretty good, pushing higher today. But I'm going to tell you that there's a huge magnet. You could see the kurtosis on this profile is very, very high. We have a very clearly defined area for the market that the market really liked and had been trading in for some time. The range kind of collapsed on Friday. Volume was pretty good, but the range is dropping, and the rotations when we do our weekly rotational statistics, the rotations continue to drop. The close to close differential, the close to close sigma, also continuing to drop from the high 50s to 24. So it's just everything is kind of being brought in, is coming in terms of the volatility. So here's Friday, nice little trend down, and then it breaks and it forms a channel upwards, and then Europe comes in right here with their numbers, and they pop it a little bit higher before testing below the full session mid full session VWAP, and we've been sitting here with a lower high from the 41.99. It seems very reluctant to push to 41.99, but you can see in the order flow right here, you can see how that move was done. It was a push up in on the European Open or thereabouts, skews down, that we get this push back to the scene of the crime right here, and then a nice little inside bar that has a false breakout, and then we have a reversal the opposite way, and then now we're holding this station right here. So there's a nice little box that has formed right in here. Let's see if this thing draws a box. Yes, thank you. So you can see there's a bit of a box that's been formed here. There's a lot of volume in this area, and we're trying to push back into this box as we speak. So I'm watching what it does overhead. There's a fair amount of overhead here, not too bad, but it held the VWAP on this retest. No idea why. It's been trampling all over it back here, back here. But overall, I think it's likely to be a pretty choppy open. It seems a little confused, but buyers have it. I mean, the overnight inventories are 99.9% long, as the sheet says. So that's where we stand. In terms of the order flow, it's there's an order that's just come in here at 4194. You can see a pretty decent sized block in there using the MBO data. A lot of that size there is a single order. That order moved up from here You could see it traveling up an aggressor there from 41.90 to 41.94. There's still a large block in here. There's some large blocks on the bid, is what we want to take away from this view. Large blocks on the bid, but not much on the offer. Um, the 4200 remains above us. As we scroll up, there's really not much there in terms of order flow, all the way up to 4220, which is the next big target. I have a measured move target at 4219 with an offer 4220 resting there already, and then underneath it's just riffraff here and there. But 4194, um, 4194, 4190. You could see size coming in again right here and trading out. There's a collision right there. Nice little collision. So we got size on the bid. There's an aggressor on the bid here. Someone is trying to buy with a resting order and pushing higher and higher. But other than that, the order flow is not telling us all that much. And of course, the picture changes a little bit before we open up. Let's see what we're expecting for today. And by the way, every attempt I've made to make these videos just 12 to 15 minutes has been an abysmal failure. Um, there just seems to be a lot to cover, but my goal is to start tapering this down and making it more efficient for myself and for you. So here's where we're opening, and we have remember we have that box right here. Here's where we're opening. I'm looking for an open auction. We are above the range of Friday. I'm looking for responsive selling again. Responsive selling. I'm looking for to sell responsively to 4190, 4188. So right here, remember the high on Friday, that double top is 89 and a quarter. Um, I'm looking for it to push to this 88, 89 area as a first test. Inventory gets balanced, push higher, come back to the overnight point of control, squeeze to 4200, battle a little bit, and then finally come through, pull back to 4200, and then start to move towards the prior week's high. That's the first scenario and the way this thing is setting up currently. Okay. The secondary scenario, the scenario that is a selling scenario, is to open auction, tests higher, choke, come back down in an impulse, consolidate at the 88, 89, and then start working its way through Friday's range to Friday's point of control down here, back to 41.81. So we're looking at 81, 80, 81 as the target to the downside. The primary target could continue before it consolidates and moves back up. So that's the secondary scenario. My laptop's not able to keep up. Remember, I'm still traveling. So that's where we stand. Just keep it tight this morning. Just let the market decide. There's a bit of a reversal going on. Remember, we put in a lower low on Friday, so we ended the daily one-time framing up. We ended it with a lower low on Friday, and now we're gapping above. So there's very, very likely going to be some discord at the open. Both sides likely to be activated. As I said on Edge Pro X, you can see that size moving up the book. There's a history of that came from 41.88 to 90 to 92, 94. We'll see how that plays out, but there's going to be there's going to be a fight between the two sides. Just take your time. Let's see who's winning this brawl before we throw our first punch. Okay, let the market kind of come to you or make it obvious what it wants to do. Good luck.